Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Art of Tranquility podcast. And in this podcast, we talk about all things to do with art and much more. And in today's episode, we have a special guest joining us, and that is Amy, my best friend. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi guys, I'm Amy. I'm so excited to be here today.
Yeah, and also, just before we start, I would just like to say something. If we start giggling, laughing, I don't know, or just taking like small pauses, we do apologize. We just can't, like, anytime we're together and we're talking, we always start to laugh and we can't help ourselves. So, throughout this entire podcast, you will probably hear us laughing about literally nothing. We'll just be speaking and then we'll just start laughing for no particular reason because that happened throughout all of our high school years, and we'll get into that later into the podcast as well. But yes, I've wrote down some questions to ask Amy, and we'll just go from there. And we'll probably go on our tangents and ramble along, and we'll just see where this podcast goes. I hope you do enjoy. And without further ado, should we just start asking you questions then?
If you would like to.
Okay, so the first main question would be like your background and where you grew up. So, did you want to answer that one?
Yeah. So I grew up in Scotland. I grew up living with my mum, my dad, and when I was really young, I had a dog called Toby. So we were all in the house together. My sister had moved out by that point. Well, she moved out
Wait,
when I was like 5.
I
So
didn't know you had a dog called Toby. What breed was it?
have I never told you about
I
Toby?
don't think you have.
Oh my gosh! So for my sister's like, I think it was like 27th birthday, she got a dog called Toby, like a little puppy. He's a Yorkshire Terrier.
Uh huh.
He was actually bred from a wrestling dog called King, who was a Yorkshire Terrier.
Oh.
So he came with like these papers and all that, and it came with like his entire like birth line, which was pretty cool. He was just a dog I grew up with. Like anytime I was sleeping, he'd be in my cot with me. He liked to steal my dummies.
That's
That was his
adorable.
thing.
So was that like
He liked.
the dog that you grew up with then? Do you say?
Yeah, I grew up with him until S2.
Oh
So
wait, really?
yeah, I was with him a long time. Even Alex got to meet
That's
him.
crazy. I had no
He was
idea.
he was 17.
That's an old dog.
Um,
Was it a
yeah.
big dog then? Would you say?
No, he wasn't a big dog.
Oh, okay. Bigger
He
than
was
the
a little
dogs you
guy.
have
He was
now,
probably about.
or
He
about
was actually
same?
smaller than he's
Really?
smaller than Daisy.
That's
Yeah.
adorable. That would be perfect for you then, especially when you were young.
Yeah, I love them to pieces. Like we were
Well,
like two peas in a
see,
pod.
even during this podcast, we're going to find out stuff that I didn't even know. You might have told me.
Apparently.
You might maybe have told me briefly, because I do remember the name Toby,
Maybe.
but I didn't know that much. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, probably not. Well, he was my sister's dog. But
Right.
then when she moved out, she didn't take him with her.
Uh huh.
Because my brother-in-law
Okay.
isn't a dog person, even though they have a dog now.
Yeah.
Um, he's now a dog person, but he wasn't then. He was more of a
Okay.
cat person. Plus, they had just got 2 kittens as well, like as they moved out.
Yeah.
His sister moved to Australia, so they ended up with the 2 cats that his sister had recently got.
Nice. Well, the
Yeah.
more you know now.
Yep. Also, I have 2 dogs in the house with me just now, Daisy and Lola. They
You
do
do.
bark at random
Yes.
things, so if you
Yes.
hear them barking, I do apologise.
Yeah, we need to
It's
take
just
all of
the way
those
they
things
are.
at the start, just in case they start happening later into the podcast. Now you will know. Now you will know. Right.
Yeah.
The next question is what you wanted to be when you were young and how that has changed over the years. So just kind of go through the first ever job you would have, even if it was crazy. Because even in the last podcast, I talked about mine. I wanted to be a lollipop man. Crazy. But that has changed now.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can
At
just
least you
kind of
can be a
go,
lollipop man.
yeah, well,
When I was like 4, I wanted to be a fairy. That was my thing. And I remember in nursery, we had this Halloween party, and I was like this little pink fairy, and I absolutely loved it. And I wanted to wear the costume
that's
every single
adorable.
day. Mum was like, "No, you can't wear that. You can't wear that. You can't wear that." And I was like, "But I really want to." I'm like, "I want to be a fairy." She's like, "You can't be a fairy. Fairies aren't real." I was like,
Oh
"What about the tooth
no!
fairy?" I remember this conversation so well.
Oh
It's like, "What about the tooth
no!
fairy?" It's like, "No, she's real, but you can't be the tooth fairy. The tooth fairy's already someone." so that I could work for her. That's not how it works, Amy.
And getting all the paid. That'll be a lot.
So I wanted to
I
be
wonder how
around for
much
like the
a fairy would
longest time.
pay.
Imagine. Here's some teeth for you.
You can do that. Go to parties and pretend you're a fairy. There you go. You've became a fairy.
Fair, yeah, that would work.
So how did that transition
Um,
onto other ones?
yeah, so when I was about 9, and that is a long jump,
Uh-huh.
I
Did you
wanted to be a
stop
werewolf.
being a fairy at one point and wanted to then, or did you have a period where you didn't know what you wanted to do?
Yeah, so there was like a
Right.
little period because I remember in primary we used to talk about jobs all the time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think this was at the point where I think I had first watched like a fantasy movie, and I seen a werewolf, and I'm absolutely obsessed with wolves. I've been obsessed with wolves since I was really, really, really young. And
Mm-hmm.
I seen this person transform into a wolf, and I was like, "That's me. That's what I want to do. I want to turn into a giant wolf."
That would be
I was
really
so
cool though.
excited about that. I was
Like,
like, "Oh my gosh!" And then, like, for the longest time, remember thinking they were real,
oh,
and I was
really.
so disappointed when they weren't. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you never know. Could be. Who knows?
They could be. They could be. Maybe one day. Hopefully, you just over time, humans can just evolve into all these different half breeds of so many different cool things.
That would be weird,
It would be
but really cool.
scary, but like then there'll be so
Yeah,
much more to the world.
I think it sounds really fun.
It does. It reminds me of The Sims because in The Sims you can be so much.
Of course, it reminds you of The Sims.
I'm a bit addicted to that. So what was
Yeah.
after the werewolves then
So
stage?
this transition kind of makes a bit more sense. So when I found out they weren't real,
Oh
I
no.
wanted to be a vet, and so I'm like, I love animals.
Yes.
I could work with animals.
Mm-hmm.
And when I think I was like 10 or 11, like I was still quite young. I wasn't in high school yet, but like I was transitioning into high school.
Mm-hmm.
But I still like I loved my toys. I'd love playing with them all. Like I was a big child when I was younger, and I got this dog vet set. And I got this letter from Santa. I still have it in my wardrobe somewhere, this letter, and it's like Santa asking me to take care of this little golden retriever dog that he'd got me
That's
with
so
the vet
cool.
set. It had like the bandage, the thermometer, things like that. And I was really excited to try it out. And at this point, we were getting like people coming into schools and things like that, and they were showing us like the different animals and that.
Mm-hmm.
I am allergic to a lot of things, apparently.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is true. That has
I found
happened.
out I was allergic to rabbits, guinea pigs, chickens. I was like, what is going on
No.
here? I'm also allergic to dogs that shed. So my wee dog Toby, he didn't shed, so I wasn't allergic
Oh,
to him, so I had
okay.
no idea.
That's the same with our
But my sister's
dogs.
cat, I started to take reactions to them as well.
Right.
So when I looked up about wanting to be a vet, it was like, oh, you can't if you've got any allergies. And I was like, well, I guess that makes sense. So guess
Yeah.
that's out the window.
That's so sad though. Do you think if you
I know.
didn't have those allergies that you might have went to pursue that later in life, or do you think it would have still changed?
I don't know. I think it might have still changed, but like I would have loved a career with animals.
Yes, even just for even like something part time eventually one day.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
I
would have
was
been
really
cool.
upset about that.
I know. So when you found out about that, then did you decide to go on to looking
I
at
didn't
something
really know
different?
what I wanted to do for
Right.
ages.
Would
Like
this be
art
like
was
high
kind of
school
in there
time?
because yeah.
Right, okay.
So I started to get into art, obviously for like art and S1 and S2, and I really wanted to do something with my art. And my mom's like, "Oh, you could do stuff for like animations and that." And I was like, "Oh yeah, maybe." And my dad was like, "Disney, you got to do Disney." Like, okay, maybe, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And they just kept throwing like ideas at me, and I was like, "These are really big ambitions." I'm like, I don't know if I can keep up with that, and I didn't want to disappoint them or anything, but I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's for me because I can't force myself to draw something if I'm not in the mood.
No, yeah,
I need
definitely.
to be in a mood to draw. Like if I'm not, then I can't do it. It's just gonna turn out terrible.
Yeah.
Um, so I kind of found like a liking to history. Like you know that from me because I took advanced
Yes.
higher in that.
Yeah.
Um, I loved history. I loved learning about different things and everything that happened in the past and how we've sort of tried to evolve from what's changed. Um,
Hmm.
so that was like when I really got into history, I was like, oh, I would quite like to teach history. So when I started talking about teaching, that was like really late on. That was like S6. So like for the longest time, I just didn't know what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so that was
I know
secondary.
you went through a lot of different stages in Essex.
Yeah, I went from like secondary school teacher to like primary teacher because
And history
I
teacher.
helped out in an S1 class for art, and I
Yeah.
was like, I don't want to teach little people like this age.
Yeah. And
So
then it
the
just
age
kept
got
getting lower.
longer. It did.
hmm
I went to primary school teaching, and I went to college to do a course that introduces me to primary school teaching so that I could go on from it into uni. And it
Yeah.
was called Childhood Practice. I did the HNC.
hmm
But when I got to placement, I had to do placement in nursery. I fell in love. Like it was just like I found like this was what I was meant to do. It was so much fun. I loved doing activities with kids, learning about them, learning about everything that they can do, their abilities, helping them realize what they can do,
Yeah.
and encouraging them to do things that maybe they're a bit hesitant to do. I absolutely I loved that. And so I decided to like continue down that career path, and I did my HND. So I just continued to do
Did you
that.
stay with that placement as well from your HNC all the way into the end of HND?
No, so my HNC placement got cancelled because of COVID.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So that was when all that happened. I nearly actually flunked my course because of COVID because I was like so discouraged and just didn't want to do anything. I just couldn't bring myself to do it. And
Yeah.
then like I didn't have anyone to speak to about it either because like nobody in my course spoke to me that year. So I was like all by
Okay.
myself. I didn't have like anybody to turn to for help. And then my lecturers, obviously they're busy, they're dealing with other students, so they're not gonna get back
Yeah.
to you straight away when you need help.
Yeah.
Um
But also it was the year
but I managed
2020
to
and a
pull through.
lot happened. A lot.
Yeah. Like my mum and my dad, they were so encouraging about it. Like my mum and dad would actually come into my room. They'd just sit and they'd be like, "Right, you just continue your college work. We're here if you need us."
That's good.
So I'd sit on my computer and they'd just be sitting there with me, and it really,
Yeah.
really helped me focus.
So would you say they really
Um,
did help push through to get to where you wanted to be now?
they really did. Like I don't think I would have completed the course if it wasn't for they two. It really, really helped me.
That's good though.
Yeah. So after that, I went on to do my HND in childhood practice, and everything was online. It was so strange.
hmm
Like the only time you'd see them was through the screen.
Yeah.
I found it was a lot easier for me though because like as someone who doesn't really speak to people like in
True.
general, when I was put in chats with them, like the little mini chats that you can get put into, I
Yeah.
spoke so much to them.
Oh, really?
Like I was so encouraged to just speak away to them,
No, that's
and it
good
really,
though.
really helped me like with my social
Yeah, and
part of that.
confidence and stuff.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Um, yeah, but the only time I met them was graduation, which was so strange. Like we had seen them on the screen all this time, and we were like,
Yeah,
"Oh my god,
and their
a
height
real
would be
person."
completely different from what you actually pictured.
Yeah, it was strange, but it was so good meeting them all. I really enjoyed that.
Well, that's good though.
Yeah. For the last month of that course, we got put into placement. We were told we might not get placement, but I'm really glad we did.
Yeah, because that
And the
really
first
helped.
placement I got given was like 2 buses away, and I don't do buses. I'm trying to explain
No.
this to the college. I'm like, I really don't do buses. I really don't want to go to this placement. Please help me. And they're like, right, we found somewhere closer to you. Phone them. And I was like, okay, okay. So I
Uh-huh.
phoned them, and it was like this nicest wee nursery. I couldn't find it anywhere. Like it's behind like a housing building, so like I couldn't see it.
Okay.
And I had to get someone to run out and come and get me. And I was like, oh hi. But I did my graded unit there, and they really liked me. And well, I hope they really liked me because they kept me.
Is that what you're
And
doing
I
now
haven't
then?
left it. Yeah.
Oh, that's
So
perfect.
that's this wee nursery.
Yeah.
So they phoned me up when I was doing some college work one of the days, and they were like, "So do you want to be on our sessional list?" And I was like, "Yes, please."
That worked out
And
perfect
then
then.
yeah, from there I'm now full time, which is amazing. I didn't think I'd ever get that so quickly coming out of college. I thought I might struggle
Yeah.
to find somewhere to work, but it
Do you
came
think
about
there
so quick.
was people that did struggle after college to actually get a placement then?
Yeah, I think there was because there's a couple people that I know that are still looking for
Oh, really?
nurseries.
Have they been
Yeah,
kind of going part-time with some of them, or?
So a lot of them are on the council sessional list, but those hours aren't guaranteed, and then the place can be like ages away, so sometimes we can't
Oh,
even do
okay.
that.
So it's really perfect for you then to have a nursery that is close and you enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm
That is
really happy
good.
with it.
Yeah, definitely. Should we move on to the next question?
Yeah.
So the next question is how and why did you start to like art? So like kind of like the starting of when you started, I guess, creating stuff and then realizing that you enjoyed it and did more.
Um. Okay. So I started to like art when I was in primary 7,
Okay.
and it just continued to grow and grow more
That
and
was
more
quite
as I went
later
through high
than
school.
most people.
Yeah. Like I obviously did like
Do you
little
remember what
doodles
you
and that, but
did
like
in primary 7 that made you like the actual specific moment
so
or
there was a project that we did.
Mhm.
So in primary 7 we were talking about World War Two,
Yeah,
and we were talking about the bunkers that like people used during World War Two.
yeah.
And the teacher was like, "I've got a fun idea. Let's all create like a model of it so that we can see what they really like did and what they were doing, things that were in there, like surrounding areas and things like that." So I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna go all out on this." Like I had cardboard, I had the card, I had paints, pens, everything. I I had like the cardboard. I painted the grass on it, and I mean this grass was like really realistic. Like, I'm really proud of that grass still. I wish I still
Uh-huh.
had it.
Oh, you don't have it anymore?
No, I'm really upset about that
No.
part.
I wonder if it
But
would
like
look a lot different now if you looked at it.
probably to be fair, like, I feel like I'd like to like if I still had it improve it.
Yeah.
But like I tried so hard on that, and like um I had like this toilet roll holder, and I made it like into a tree for it. I made like little cans out of card and paper to sit on little cardboard shelves that I made for inside the little bunker. I
That's
had the
so
little beds
cool.
made. I had all these wee details, and then I put an LED candle in it
Uh-huh.
for the light,
Yeah.
so it lit up, and it was really really cool. And then when we took
Do you
them
have
in,
pictures of them?
I don't know. I need to have a look on one of my older phones. My mum
Yeah.
might.
'Cause that sounds really, really cool.
Yeah, it was. I was so proud of it. And we went in, and the teacher was like, "Right, so we're gonna have a little prize for the one that's the best." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, it's gonna be me! It's gonna be me!"
Was
And
it
it
not?
wasn't.
It wasn't
No,
you after all of that effort you put into
put
it?
so much effort in, and I was so upset that someone else got it.
Do you think theirs was more?
No, I mean the only difference was they had sandbags out the front. I didn't have that. But to be fair, I was like,
But
not
you
everybody could
definitely
afford
put
them.
more time into yours though, right?
I feel like I did. I spent so long on that.
And you enjoyed it. Like, see stuff that you enjoy, you
Mhm.
tend to put so much more time and effort into the things you enjoy compared to the things you don't. Like, if you enjoy
Yeah,
something, you go all out. It was kind of the thing with our photography. That was the class I would say that I most enjoyed out of the entire 6 years. And it was the one I did best in
yeah, I'd
because I
say the
enjoyed it so
same.
much.
Photography was so much fun. I liked
It
that we did
was.
get to go up Wonder and things like that, and just
No,
it
yeah.
was something that we wanted to do.
It didn't feel like you were actually in high school anymore. It felt like you were in, like, college or uni. The way it felt, like, the
Yeah,
photography class, because you weren't just stuck within the zone that you were in that classroom and just staring at screens. Yes, the portion of that was staring at screens and doing like your work, but like the enjoyable part was the parts where you got to explore and go and stuff. And the part then we went to Millport, that was really exciting. I don't think we weren't meant to do that for one of our photography shoots, but we wanted to do that. But since we're traveling, it's best to get photo shoots from different locations.
yeah, definitely.
So that was a really good part. That I feel like that was my favorite subject, even compared to like art. I would say that I enjoyed photography more, but I had a more
Hmm.
connection to art as like a whole, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I definitely enjoyed photography. It was one of the best classes we had. I think it was the teacher as well, to be fair.
Yes,
I
definitely.
loved that teacher so much.
Yeah.
She was amazing.
Should we move on to the next question?
Yeah.
Okay, so anyone have a talent in art that's a part of your family, or I guess even just like friends and stuff, not including me, of course, but like anyone I guess like around you that has talent in art that you know of, or how you, even if that was even an influence, or maybe where you got your skills from.
So there's not really anybody in my family that
Oh,
has
really?
any talent in art, and I'm saying that in the nicest way possible. But my mum and my dad aren't very artsy, not at all.
Oh
And as
no.
far as I'm aware, neither were any of my grandparents.
Did they
But
not do
like, I
any
only
like
knew one of my
doodles or
grandparents,
stuff?
so no,
Oh,
not
really?
really.
Wow.
Well, actually, my dad, he drew a Batman. That was his thing.
Maybe you got it
He
from your
just
dad.
he drew a Batman. That was all he drew though. Like, and he
No,
only
over and
did it
over.
once.
Oh, okay.
He only did it once. I've
Uh-huh.
never seen him do it again. And
Hmm.
that's like the only time I've seen him do anything artsy. Though my sister has recently got into making things with her cricket, which is pretty cool.
Cricket.
I like, yeah. So it's I don't really know what it does, to be fair.
Hmm.
Just she makes artsy things with it. It's like little craft things. Like she makes her own like little gift label tags and
Oh,
like
okay.
these wee egg holders and things. It's really really cool. Like I really like them.
Yeah.
Um, and my niece and nephew draw, but I think they get that from me because my sister has said that since they started seeing me drawing, that that's when they wanted to start drawing.
Yeah.
So I think that may have come from me, but they don't draw very often, which I'm really disappointed about because my niece and nephew's drawings are really, really good for
Just
their
keep
age.
influencing them what will happen.
Yeah.
See,
I
that's
would
what
like
I
them
was
to
doing
draw
with
more.
my little brother. I used to like do drawings and I would like want him to draw and for me to like grade
Mhm.
his work and then tell him how to improve because I really did enjoy doing that stuff. I one day want to do a class like kind of like that, like where I'll bring people that I know of and doing like classes with everyone and seeing how that could go because that's something that I wanted to do even before I did like all of my placement stuff and before I even know that I was going to be doing placement. It was like back in like HNC, like even before I started this degree course and I wanted to do that stuff. And now knowing that
Mm,
that could actually be part of like placement and your hours and stuff, like it could be something that I can
yeah,
try as well. Because I do
I
want
think
to
that sounds
dabble
really
into
fun.
stuff. That was one thing that I didn't like when I even when I was doing my presentation. It was one thing that I wanted to make sure to do that I wasn't just sticking with one path and going down that. Because if I didn't like it, it would be more difficult to get out of it. But if I dabbled into stuff and there's something that I want to pursue, it'll be a lot more easier since I know what I'm doing and I would want to go down that way. And I would know if I preferred that to other things than rather just going down one full thing and not knowing if I would like the other things more.
Yeah, sense. It's best to keep your options open, especially when you're doing like art's such a broadened
No,
subject,
yeah,
and
definitely.
there's so much you can do with it.
Hmm. Which is good because
Yeah, it's
every
just
artist is like completely unique and doing so many
yeah,
different things. So they're just yeah, they're just like yeah, you know. They're just like yeah to no to yeah. Right. Do you
I think
have
that's
any?
something about.
Sorry,
Oh, sorry.
sorry. Do you have any primary stories or high school stories that you would want to share?
So I kind of already said the
You
primary one.
did.
It was more about that was just like the wee competition thing that I was
Yeah,
gonna
and that
talk
was like
about.
your main point since you didn't really. Is there any stuff you actually did in primary school that was more younger that you would want to share, even if it's not art related? That's like a really main moment that you remember in primary school. So like if you were to like look back at primary, would there be a moment that was like that moment would be there forever in my life into my brain?
Um, I got detention once.
You did? Was it from something you
Yeah.
actually did or was it a miscommunication?
Um, I I don't even remember what it was for. I remember the teacher and I remember the classroom,
Uh-huh.
and it was break time, and she's like, "You're not leaving this classroom." So I was sitting in my little seat, just wondering like what was going on because I'd never had detention before, so I was really upset about it.
Oh no.
And I just remember her going, "I can't believe you would do that," and I was like, Okay.
Uh,
And I think
was it scary?
I can't remember really. Well, it was scary for me, like, the feeling, but I can't remember what I did. I just remember her being so disappointed in me, and it just made me
Mm,
so upset that she was disappointed in me
no,
because I really
yeah.
liked her as a teacher.
Yeah, something similar actually happened to me. It was where people had, it was just like this trend in primary school where you would flick the back of someone's ear. It was weird. I
Yeah.
know, but you know that trick, yeah. So people kept doing
Yeah.
it to me, and then this girl did it to me, and then I did it back. She started crying, and then the
Oh,
teacher took me
no.
out after class, so after everyone was already left, and was explaining how disappointed and wrong that was for me to do that. And I felt mortified, and my heart was pounding because I've never been into trouble. This was primary six as well, and I was so stressed. But how dare she cry? And you know who you are if you're
Yeah, if you're
watching.
gonna do that to if you do that to someone, you need to expect it back.
Exactly. Like she did it to me. Like I could have cried. How about if I started crying or fake crying?
I
Then
know.
like she would have been the one in
So
trouble. But she flicked my ear. I don't know why people did that, but that was a full thing in my primary six that people kept doing. I
It
don't
was
know if
also
they
a thing in my primary. I
was it
remember
around
that
that
so
same
much.
year, would you say?
Yeah, it was because it was when someone came from a different school to join our school. They started it,
Oh really?
and it just went all over primary six.
Hmm.
It's just,
It was an
it
annoying
just seems
thing.
like such
And
a
that was the
common
only
thing to
first
do.
time I did it. I didn't do it any other time before that or after. I only did it at
Hmm.
once and it went downhill. That was that was probably the
I can
only
see why you
one.
never did it any time after that.
Yeah, it was mortifying. It's honestly so scary, especially when they're like leaned over, stood like right next to you, and you're like teeny and they're like tall, and you're just like looking up at them.
Yeah.
Like I wish they would kneel down to my eye level, but no, I just
Mm.
scared. And they
I
know that
think
I
it's
don't do
positive.
stuff. Like I never get into trouble. And that one time that I did do something, that was like,
Yeah.
but they probably just thought that I was hitting her for some reason when I wasn't. No, what happened? I flicked her ear. It's different.
I flicked her ear. There's a difference.
I didn't even like rat her out and say that she did it to me
Oh, I would
because I
have
remember
definitely
I
done
remember it hurting. I don't remember it being like cry worthy,
that.
but you
Yeah.
know, but yeah.
Maybe she just couldn't handle it.
How dare she? If you're
Yeah, I
watching,
think like
how dare you?
see the teachers leaning over you and like trying
No,
to
yeah.
intimidate you.
Mhm.
I hate the thought of that.
No,
So like when
yeah.
I'm in the nursery, I make sure I'm always down at their level speaking to them.
Yeah, you're meant to do that,
I
aren't you?
hate people trying to intimidate you. I think that's just such a horrible thing to do to a
Well,
child.
it's just not
Like I know you're supposed to
correct.
be their teacher and they're supposed to like
Mhm.
respect you and things like that. But at the same time, you need to show them respect
Yeah.
and show them that you're not scary and that you're actually just there to help them
No, you definitely,
and
because
help them
that would
become that better
change.
version of themselves.
Yeah, because it'll change a child over the years. Because I remember, I think it was primary five or four, so even just the year before this all happened, there was a mind map that we had on our desks, and it was like a mind map of your name, and everyone went round putting a word that described you. So like you would go round to every student that was in your class and you would write something about them. Sounds mean now, and this would definitely not be a good thing to do now these days because you don't know what
Mm.
people are going to say about you because it's anonymous. And then when I went back to my seat, all the stuff that was saying was like hilarious, funny, mental, crazy. And I was like,
Oh
that's what I
gosh.
was like in primary five. If I did any of that now, that would be chaotic of me. So like
Yeah.
it was just weird to see back then that I was like energetic and like funny and crazy. I was
Strange, I
chaotic.
can't picture you like that at
No,
all. Like
yeah.
you've always been so calm and quiet
No,
since
yeah.
I've known you.
Especially when I was like when we did first meet as well.
Yeah.
Like but like that was when it's just crazy to think about that that's what people thought of me. Because
Yeah.
I thought for this entire time, like, I was just that shy, introverted person that just went through silently for all the years. But can you imagine me
Mm.
in high school being like that? Like, that would not go down well.
No, I don't know how I'd feel about you if you did that.
No, yeah. If I was like I
I
was
think I
right
would,
now.
yeah, I think we were more I think we became closer because we were so shy and like
No,
quiet
yeah.
together.
We had so much in common, like, so quickly as
Yeah.
well.
We did, definitely.
Should we start talking about high school stories now then?
If you would like to.
I don't really know what to speak about because, like, what
I want to speak about my sketchbook.
your
I want to speak
sketchbook?
about
Yes. Well, technically, that's actually more towards the end of the year. Should we start towards the
Oh yeah,
start?
maybe we should start towards the start.
Just so it makes sense for everyone, in case we're flicking
Yeah.
back. Hopefully, you are all enjoying this podcast, by the way. Don't know how well it is for everyone. I hope you are enjoying. If you are enjoying and you're watching this right now and you haven't, like, flicked to the end, what should they comment? I feel like they should comment something so we know
Banana
that they've
juice.
watched. Right, comment banana juice if you're watching right now and you've watched up to this point, because this is like the halfway point, I would say. So let's see if people actually were actually watching and wasn't just like flicking through to pretend they've watched, you know. Let's see who those true people are. If you're true, banana juice in the comments. Okay, alright.
We will know who you are.
And yeah, we would. If you're not commenting that, then we don't want to speak to you. Right. It doesn't matter because, like, they won't know that we said this about them, you know?
Yeah, it's true actually.
Yeah, so, like,
So they go back
if you're
and
not
watch
watching
it
this
years
right, well, then technically they have watched it eventually, so I won't be mad.
ago. That's true.
Right, high school stories. So in S1, I don't really know what there was. Like, well, see, the thing
I
was,
didn't know
there
you.
was two. No, we didn't know each other yet. There was two high schools, and all of my friends went to the other high school, so I was just stuck with one friend at that point. And throughout those entire years, didn't make any more friends. I don't think. Made like acquaintances. Where like, no wait, no, actually, primary 1, 2, and wait, not primary, high school, first year, second year, and third year, I made actually some great friends. You would know them. It was the ones that like went into like 2 year higher, like that kind of
Yeah.
people. I made a great friends with them, but as soon as it switched to fourth year, stopped communication completely, because it was mainly Spanish that I was in their classes with, and we'd get along so well, and I loved it. But as soon as that ended, it was all went like downhill, and we stopped speaking, which was kind of a sad moment. But in fourth year, what classes did you want to speak? Do you want to speak about them? Like what kind of classes you took, if you remember them in fourth year?
Oh gosh.
Just kind of go into like, so picture the high school and then just go through the corridors, like
One-
imagine yourself walking through the corridors. That's how I did it.
I had biology. I had history.
Out of your three, was that your first choice, by the way?
Yeah,
Because do you
biology.
remember what happened to mine? And my first
No, I
my first choice was physics because I really enjoyed maths. So I was like, physics is the most like maths, so I would go for physics. Second choice I put is biology because chemistry was just, I didn't want to do that because that just.
Yeah.
And then head of the year comes in. I got chemistry, by the way. Head of the year comes in, was like, so did everyone get their first choice here? And I didn't raise my hand or didn't speak. And do you know who I'm blaming now? The girl that I flicked the ear. She's the start of all this. I'm blaming her, I'm sorry, but you're the reason.
Was it not 7 classes we took that year? Because I swear I had 2. I had chemistry as well.
Were you two?
Because I had that teacher. I had the class right at the end of the corridor.
That was my one.
Did we have this? No, we didn't have the same teacher.
Mrs. H.
You were the one across from me, weren't you?
Mine was Mrs. H. I'll go with the letters.
Oh, mine was Mrs. S.
Oh, no.
Because she's actually got the same. Her last name's my middle name.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's kind of funny.
It's strange.
That is strange.
She didn't like me though at all. She knew I was going to fail her class.
Actually, I did really, really well in my classes. Because I remember from the prelim and getting that maths. It was like, what I didn't realise about chemistry is there's a lot of maths into it. So actually, it wasn't the worst. But, like, when you think about chemistry, you think about all of the. What do you think?
Elements.
Like, yeah, no, that as well. But, like.
Periodic table.
Yeah, but, like, all of the experiments, that's the word. Experiments that you'll get to do.
Yeah.
We did, like, 2 or 3 experiments the entire year. Meant to do a lot more, but they just don't. Like, you'd think you'd
they're
do a
just
lot.
like, this is what's supposed to happen. We'll
Yeah,
just tell
they would just show you a
Or you watch
PowerPoint.
a video of it and you're like,
No,
that would
yeah.
have been so cool to see, like, IRL.
Yeah, and especially I feel like that would help with learning because you'll be more involved in it. than just
You'd be
watching
more
it.
interested in.
Like, it's different. Like, imagine you having to read an entire PowerPoint to someone speaking about the PowerPoint to then actually presenting what that PowerPoint was meant to be. Three completely different things. If you were meant to read it, you
Yeah.
probably won't know any of it. Someone was to speak it to you, you'll probably understand some of it. But if it was actually presented into your face, you'll be more concentrated and your mind will be more
Yeah.
focused on what was actually happening. So, yeah, that was
Yeah,
that.
definitely.
Right, so you took English, maths, biology, and chemistry?
Yeah, and then I had history, PE.
EE? Oh, PE. I thought you said
Yeah.
EE.
No, physical education.
Yeah.
Uh,
And art.
and art. Yeah, I was like, what other one did I take?
What did so like that's 7 subjects then?
Yeah, that's my 7.
Then what
And then
did
we had
I
RE on top of that.
take? Yeah. Yeah, ours was a religious, what's it called?
We were a Catholic school.
Catholic, yes. Roman Catholic, to be exact, actually. Right, so the ones I took was maths, English, chemistry, modern studies, and history. So yeah, I took 2 social subjects.
Yeah.
Wait, but then art. I didn't take PE though. So if you took biology and I took modern studies, that cancels them out.
Yeah.
Oh, ICT. I took ICT.
Oh,
I took
right.
admin out of those 3 though. It's not just ICT, it's admin. There's 3 different.
Oh, yeah, it went
This is
into
like-
3. I didn't get to that point.
No, I didn't enjoy that. I was accused of cheating. Not spoke about that story in this podcast yet. Don't think I will. If if you want me to speak about that, I'll speak about that in the next podcast or so. But that was a whole thing when I was accused of cheating for my exam. How dare you? On my birthday.
Oh, was that the one that was on your birthday?
Yeah. Should I speak about it?
I think you should speak about it.
Right, so admin. So, for the exam, you had 5 days to complete it. So it was a big exam. No, you're not trapped in there for 5 days, by the way. If you were trapped in there for 5 days, I think everyone would be accused of cheating. Because you would have to, I don't know. You would have to go on your phone at some point. But anyway, it was my birthday, so my phone kept going off. So when I was doing the exam, we were just kind of all there in the same kind of room. So we were right next to each other. And when we were doing the exam, phone kept going off and it kept vibrating in my pocket, which was annoying me. So I put my hand in my pocket to turn it off so it was on silent. And then the teacher walks over to me and then goes, give me your phone, or I can't remember exactly. It was either give me your phone or what you holding or show me your phone, something along those lines that made me have to take out my phone. So I took out my phone out of my pockets and then she started going off shouting, not, I was about to say swearing, she was not swearing, just shouting at me and saying how I was cheating and how she was going to tell the head of year. Didn't tell the head of year, by the way. Funny that, isn't it? Our head of year didn't get to know this. And then she stole my phone and I had to come back at the end of the class. Not just that class, the end of the school day. And then I came back and I remember having to retrieve it and just going, it was my birthday, and messages kept popping up. And then she was like, that's no excuse to be on your phone. And I was like, I wasn't actually on it. I didn't actually look at my phone. I put my hand in my pocket to turn it off. If that makes sense, so it could stop annoying me, because it was making me sweat and very nervous that it just kept going in my pocket. So
Yeah.
But yeah, that was that story. It was very, very stressful. But
English teacher on my exams.
what?
I always give my phone to this teacher.
You keep cutting out, by the way.
So I kept anytime I had an exam, I would give my phone to the Spanish teacher whose classroom we would sit in.
Okay, see, I just always kept mine in my pocket, or once we actually did the proper exams, because that was admin, you went into your actual class, you didn't go into the exam hall for that.
Yeah.
That was just the only time I actually had it. All other times, either I'd give it to my art teacher, even if it wasn't an art exam, or put it in my bag, turned off, and set them at the back of the exam hall.
Yeah.
Do you remember they told us to take out our SIM cards? Take out your SIM cards, take out your batteries, because you just never know if they'll turn on themselves. And like, that's not how a phone works. I'm not doing that. I'm just turning it off. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'm not taking out
I don't
everything.
think that's how they work.
Like, do you know how difficult it is to take out a battery in your phone?
Yeah, you have to like pretty much split your phone in half.
I know. And I'm not getting that back in.
Thing.
It will no longer work.
It really wouldn't. I think maybe that's just what they were planning for, just to have them not work.
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely. They were like, your phone's never going to work again, and then you can't cheat on your exam.
And then you're gonna succeed in life because like exams are everything apparently.
You know. Also, why do you keep going in and out for some reason?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not really sure.
Okay, I think you're good. I think you're okay now. It just kept going in and out. Bit scary.
Oh, okay.
I think it's all good. Right, so that was S1. Jesus, that was a ramble. That's a good ramble. That was a good ramble. Hopefully you enjoyed that ramble. Right, S2 didn't really do much. I mean, what is a main point from you from S1, 2, and 3? Wait, no, we're in S4 now.
Yeah, we kind of...
No, yeah, we weren't. That wasn't S1. I didn't do an exam in S1.
I would hope not. That'd be terrifying.
Right, so that was... Is there any stories that you wanted to say in S4, or should we move on to... Wait, no. Wait.
We met
in S4.
We should speak about that.
We should speak about that. Yeah, so we met in a history class, and we sat in the same group because we had a mutual friend, and they introduced us to me and Amy, and that's how we started speaking and became best friends. Well, in fourth year, definitely it was like, I don't know when we started like becoming main friends. I would say it would only be like a couple of weeks into the course. Would it be?
Yeah, it didn't take.
Yeah, and then over the time we started going back. See, we've got a lounge in my place, and I don't know when we started going to that. I don't even know when that was built, actually. Would that be in fourth year?
You wanted us to play Obscure. You wanted us to see your game. Yes. I remember that. You wanted us all to play it because you're like, 3 of us can play it, we can have a character each.
Yeah.
No, we can have 2 characters each and you'll have the one.
Yeah.
And then you brought us there, and then me and you just ended up playing it.
No, yeah, that did happen because our friend was scared of horror games, and this wasn't like a scary game. We'll be playing that with you on my other channel, just a little sneak peek. But no, yeah, we definitely wanted to. No, but was that the first time you came down? I remember we used to play a lot of cards.
Yeah,
that was the thing.
Would that be in fourth year? And then we went on to the cards because our friends brought them.
No, yeah. Would that be in fourth year?
Yeah, that was more fourth year. It was like, I think it was towards the end of fourth year because we also went to yours to study.
Yeah, study. That's also another thing.
Study.
That hardly could happen with our other friend that was there.
Yeah, they made it difficult.
So should we move on to S? No, was there anything in S4 that we could remember?
No, I don't think we.
So that was the main thing. We were in our history. We didn't have any other classes together unless. When did we start having tutor? Was that just 6th year?
When did yeah, that was.
How did we manage to do that? Like, how did we get?
Year?
No, I think it must have been 6th year. Or was it 5th year? Yeah. Was it just for the 1 year? Or is it for 2? I know it was definitely in 6th year.
Because all 3 of us had tutor together because we had the English teacher.
They weren't in the same. Oh my gosh, they were. They were behind us.
That was S6. So
yeah.
S5 we didn't.
No, I had my art teacher, which was kind of funny.
I had her at one point for tutor, and we were in the same class as her because I remember that's when we started laughing because she made the face. was that tutor? Or was that RE?
That was tutor. No, that was RE.
She had us for an RE lesson, didn't she?
Yeah, and we were talking about friendships.
Oh my god.
That's where it began. No, yep, that's where it began. We were in an RE class, and our art teacher was doing an art. We do have RE teachers, by the way, but this is an art teacher that was teaching RE for our class because our RE teacher wasn't in. I wonder if she saw that we were in that class and she was like snatching them up taking them for a class. I know what I'm
I've never
doing.
seen you in that class. And she's not didn't like me.
And then, so we got into an RE class, and then this literally, the class was about friendship and how, like, friendship and what that means to you. And then she sat down in our group, was just me and Amy. I think it was, right? Unless there was someone else.
Is that right next to Matthew?
Yes, right next to
like
me. So in front of Amy, next to me. And I just kind of looked, was it me or you? Do you want to explain it, actually? Because you probably know more.
Yeah, so she asked us a question, I think.
It was
What
about,
the question?
she said, what did friendship mean to you?
Yeah, so that was the question, and she looked at me, and then she looked at Matthew, and then she sort of kind of looked in between us, like sort of trying to like get us both in our eyesight, I think, or eyeline or whatever. And then she just crosses her eyes over, like right, like squints them, and looks at Matthew. And I just burst out laughing because I don't know why she's making that face at him. Like she just went cross-eyed and stared at him.
Do you know what the worst part
And I
was?
just burst out laughing.
We didn't answer her. We didn't answer at all. We just stayed silent, laughing. We literally laughed. Like, we burst out laughing because I laughed because Amy started laughing because I thought it was the question that was asked that was funny, because what the teacher was like, what does friendship mean to you? I couldn't see what she actually did, because if I looked at her, I would have been traumatized. That would have not worked out if I turned to her and started answering, because if I saw what Amy saw, that would have been scary. No, but yeah, so she answered that, and then as soon as that started happening, Amy just couldn't hold in, and I could tell that she was ready to like burst into like tears of laughter. So when she started doing that, then I started laughing, and then we both just started laughing, and then she was just kind of there just going, right. Okay, and then I think she just went up and walked away. Like
she just like looked at us and slowly stood up and walked.
Yeah, we didn't answer her question.
We traumatized.
We did. She probably still speaks about that to like the other teachers. Because
Sorry,
in her what?
The dogs are coming into my room. I'm just bringing them in.
Doggies. But yeah, in our 6th year, all of our art teachers, because we had many, especially when I was doing my advanced higher, there wasn't just that one teacher you had. You pretty much had all of them helping you out. But yeah, all of them knew about us laughing. So they definitely spoke about all of the moments that they had with us, as we did the same. But like, we weren't laughing at them. I just want to make that clear. We weren't laughing at our teachers and poking fun of our teachers, like, at all. It was just anytime that something happens and we look into each other's eyes, we just burst out into laughing, and we can't help ourselves. Like what we're doing in this podcast. Although we haven't actually did.
Not even seeing each other.
No, yeah, we can't even see each other, but like we can just sense each other's presence, and we just start laughing, and there's nothing we can do. But yeah, that was. So what was that? That was in 6th year, wasn't it?
No, I think it was 5th year it started.
The laughing?
Was it not the end of 5th year?
I thought the 6th year was that RE class, because the 6th was that not in it? Oh, was that in 5th year that we had the RE class together?
I think so. Maybe. Am I getting it mixed up? Maybe.
Were we even in the same RE class? We were, but we went in the same group.
And then when we went up to hers,
I swear, we started laughing in RE once as well, because I just kind of looked back, because I think I was like, you were in like the middle group, but up at the front, and I was at like a corner of the group, but like I couldn't see you unless I turned around, and I remember just when turning around and then seeing you, and I would just start laughing again. And then we would just be laughing in RE as well. They're not like strong moments in my memory, but I vaguely remember that. But yeah,
I mean, I think we laughed in like every single.
There was like not one class that we haven't laughed in. Like even when you had your, what's it called? It's not supported study. It's when you're had an extra class.
Free periods?
Free periods, yeah. When she had free periods, Amy would be in my advanced higher art class. And we'll still laugh. we'll still laugh. And that was the first ever time that I was actually took out of a class, and that was in our 6th year. So we would have been,
So,
what, 18, 19? Would that be our age range? Or would it be
yeah, we
17,
were
18?
17,
18.
18.
18 something, or 17. 17 to 18, yes, that. And we got took out of the class, and that's the first time I've ever been took out of a class to get shouted at. She didn't shout at us, but she was just like, right, I've been seeing you doing this a lot in other classes, and like she was saying that other teachers have been seeing it too. And guess what we started doing? Laughing. We laughed back at her because she was telling us to stop laughing. So
we held that in really well, though,
No, we
because I
did.
remember side-eyeing
Yeah.
trying not to laugh at your face.
No, yeah, that happened.
It
And
was such a stressful moment, though.
it was, and we felt so bad. So then we came up
We did.
after, I think it was after actually school ended. We came back up, talked to her, and we just apologized. She was completely fine with it, though. Like, she wasn't like
Yeah.
hurt by it. I hope not. If you're watching this, I hope you weren't.
Mm.
But yeah, that happened. There was another time where full on laughed in front of her face because I needed to talk about my course. I think it was advanced higher course, and we went in together, and you ran out of the class because we both started laughing.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
then
had to just leave because it was just making it worse.
and then she just kind of went, "Why did you just do that?" Wait, because you were gone at this point, and I was like, I don't, and I don't think I answered her. I was like, I don't know. It was so stressful because like then I was by myself and I didn't know what to say because that happened. Like it just happens, and it's nothing to do with them. Like it's every teacher. Like even like what our teacher was saying.
It's just random people at this point now as well. Like
Yeah.
it just happens.
No, because
We
even
just
she said
take
she
nothing to
she saw it with other teachers. Like other teachers have came up with this same thing that we keep laughing. So like other teachers was happening. So hopefully they knew that it wasn't them and it was us, because why would we be laughing at every teacher?
Yeah.
Yeah, that happened a lot.
Yeah, that was a whole thing.
So do you have any high school stories that doesn't involve me, or do you think most of them do?
I think all of them do actually. Anything I remember, you're just kind of there.
Wait, no, you should speak about maths. Your higher maths.
Oh my gosh.
And
I failed higher maths because of this person that I sat next to. And it was the friend that introduced us to.
Yeah, that one. We should name them.
So we took Alice.
It's a great name.
Yeah, so let's go with Alice. So
Okay.
Alice introduced us, and the following year, me and Alice had higher maths together. So of course they sat down next to me. So we continue on the year, blah blah blah. But then at some point during the year, he just completely gives up. He's like, I don't care. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't need it for the health thing that I want to be. Blah blah blah. So he just like
Oh,
doesn't
did
do
they
any work
only need a
anymore.
national?
They only did National 5. So they gave up with
Oh.
higher.
I
So
thought it was just
instead of
because
like
they couldn't do
taking
it.
up a different class or something,
You
he
know.
just continues to sit there.
And like
and
they knew
then
what they
as
were
I'm-
doing.
As I was doing my work, they would like speak to me about Pokemon, and I swear it was only Pokemon. Pokemon this,
How about
Pokemon
Smash
that, Pokemon
Brothers?
this, Pokemon that. In Smash Brothers, yes.
Hmm.
They never stopped. And
And it is
anytime
annoying.
I'm trying to do work, I would just feel them tap me, and I'd be like, "What now? What now?"
See, I don't like
It's
when
just
people
like,
tap me. It's too
No,
personal.
neither do I.
Like,
Or
don't
I'd
tap me.
just like, he'd look down at his phone, so he'd have his head on the desk, and the teacher's like, sit up, blah blah blah, and like constantly telling him to like try and do his work.
Hmm.
And then as I'm trying to do my work, he's like, so what's the answer to this question? What's the answer to that question? Like
It's
he'd
so
ask
annoying.
me for like all the answers. He'd copy off my work. And like he was my friend's like also I didn't want to say no to him, but like I feel like I should have said no to him.
Well, yeah, because like even like, could you imagine if they passed and you didn't? That
That would have been all down to me.
yeah.
I'm like, I failed because of you and you passed because of me.
Hmm.
But they
No,
distract
because
me.
they would have
distract me
bragged.
so
They
much
do love
better.
bragging. That was a thing they loved doing. Because I remember
Mhm.
with English,
Ugh,
they bragged about that.
yes.
We all passed, but we all got different grades.
Yeah.
Let's just say that. and they bragged. But, it's fine. It's fine.
They bragged about everything. They were so distracting in that class. I
Yeah.
don't know why the teacher never moved us apart. Like, I really wish she did.
See, that happened the exact same thing, but at least mine's isn't as severe as yours because mine's was on my, what do you call it, free periods. And he was in my free period class and he sat next to me and couldn't do anything. Talked the entire time, and I was stressing out about all of my. It was mainly English. I would only really do my free periods for English because that's the most because I could only write. So English would be the one I would usually more tend to do and get help with because you can constantly write essays for them. You can constantly pop them out, give them to the teacher, and they'll mark them because they don't mind marking no matter what. Even if you're doing like stuff that you didn't need to do, they would just mark it anyway. So. I did that. That's the kind of stuff that I did for my free period class. Definitely helped me, but I remember stressing about the actual going in to do those tests and stuff and getting help with like prelims. And they just talked the entire time to me. And I'm like, I'm timing myself. I need to time myself. Luckily though, when I actually did the English exam, like the proper exam, I actually think I finished my creative piece in time. Loved the creative thing in the English exam though. All the other ones, I didn't enjoy the RUAE. Is that it? Reading, understanding, analysis, evaluation.
Yeah, that was so annoying.
No, don't like them. Love the creative part, and I guess the other part was okay as well. That's like the poem kind of thing. Was it poems? It's kind of like that. Can't remember what you call that.
That was the poem.
Those were okay because you understood them, and that's your stuff that you actually like. I guess read and knew, but your RUE, it was something random every time. You don't know what you're going to get for that. It could be something you know nothing about, or it could be something you know something about which would help you. Because I remember, I think it was something about, I can't remember, I think it was something about tapes, but it had a different word for it that many people just don't even know what they were called. And when it was called that, no one knew that we were actually talking about tapes. I did. Well, no, I didn't do that. It was the English teacher was talking about a previous exam, and that's just a thing that you could know or couldn't know kind of thing.
Yeah,
like it's
like,
up
it's completely
to
random. I feel like it doesn't really test our skills properly.
Yeah, because remember once it was on Titanic. I don't think I was on that exam though.
I wasn't in that exam either.
No, but that was on that, and like if you didn't watch Titanic, I guess you could still get the marks. But like if you watched it, it would help a lot because I guess you would know stuff. And reading stuff, you'll be like, oh, I remember that part. That part was like this, and it was like this, and I felt this when watching it, which is kind of like helping you to. You've already did your own analysis by watching and stuff like that. So it would just naturally help you.
I'd never seen the Titanic, so I'd be like failing.
Yeah, you'd only know what you're given, kind of thing.
Yeah,
and what you're
which
reading.
I feel like isn't very fair.
No, because you don't know like what they're speaking. Like, yes, they could be speaking about, I guess, like this person being chained up and the water filling. Yes, you can kind of picture that, but like if you actually watched it beforehand and understood it more and know what was going on and why they were chained up, perhaps, or what the room looked like, or kind of stuff, like just there's so much that can go into it that you just would remember from seeing stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's why I like the creative stuff and the other stuff more, just because you can understand that more. Because that's what you were doing. Yes, you could get a different question from the one you were actually wanting. Because I know I wanted mine's on conflict. And the actual conflict one popped up as well. So I was like, this is perfect. It couldn't go any better. So
yeah,
I was really happy with that. Yeah. Should we go on to more stuff? Is that our high school stuff things done then? Would you say?
Pretty much. I can leave out my sketchbook thing. I don't mind.
Wait, no. Speak about the sketchbook. You need to.
Okay, so when I went to high school, I always took a sketchbook with me because I really liked sketching, drawing out all my little things. And I had this sketchbook that was like full of drawings that I had worked so hard on. Like it was like the different superheroes. I was making up the sketchbook for my nephew pretty much, and he loved like these little superheroes. So like I was doing all them for him. And there was a couple wee doodles in there for myself, but I was just planning on taking them out. And this sketchbook was like nearly full. And in art, you can what is it? It's design and contemporary or
Expressive.
expressive, yeah. So for my expressive side, I wanted to like pretty much just draw different art supplies because art's something I felt strongly about at that point.
Hmm.
So the teacher was like, leave some stuff out on your desk and I can photograph it during lunch and then you can come back up and get your stuff and that. So I left it like a mannequin. I left my sketchbook, I left paintbrushes, pencils, like my tin of pencils and everything. My tin of pencils were still there when I went back up, but my sketchbook was nowhere to be seen. It wasn't even in the photos that she'd taken. So it was gone before she even came back. So she was like, obviously she was confused. She was like, I didn't see sketchbook lying there. Like, why would you leave it in my room? And I was like, well, I wanted you to photograph it. That was the whole point of it.
Yeah.
It was just gone. Like
Hmm.
she had no clue where it was. I had no clue where it was. Like me and Andrew searched that classroom up and down like so many times.
Because it meant a lot as well.
It was nowhere. We checked. I think we checked like every single art class.
It's
We
crazy.
did, didn't we?
Me?
I don't know if it was with you, but I remember checking every single art class with someone.
Oh, it
I
might have
don't know
been
if
me
that was with
then.
you or with one of my other friends.
Don't know
I
actually.
think it might have been one of my other friends who had seen the sketchbook previously.
Yeah, because
Like,
I
so
don't
they
think I
knew the
saw it at
drawings that were
all.
in it.
Yeah.
But it was gone.
Hmm.
And then at one point, this was in S6. This was when we went to the library was it Friday?
Um.
Or it was the last period on Friday, wasn't it, for
Yeah.
English?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
We
No,
were
I
sitting in the
loved that.
library. And I remember the teacher speaking away, and he was up at the front of the room, so obviously we were turning around to look at him. I just remember seeing these sketches on the wall that looked eerily similar to the ones that I had done and lost.
Hmm.
And I remember just staring at them still, and then like the bell went, and everybody left, and I went to like look at them, and I was like, maybe they are mine. And then when I was taking closer looks at them, I noticed the things that I made mistakes on
Yeah.
were the
Yeah.
exact same because they were imprinted in my brain because obviously I'd want to change them.
Yes. Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, that's where I messed up that line. And I remember the librarian coming out and he's like, oh, would you like them? I was like, I think those are mine. And he looked at me so weirdly.
Uh huh.
And I'm like, no, I've lost a sketchbook and I genuinely think they're out my sketchbook.
Uh huh.
And
Were they ripped out or were they reprinted?
ripped out.
Oh
Like, the
God.
person ripped them out of my sketchbook. I was like, oh my gosh, what is going on here? So I was speaking to the librarian and he was like, yeah, I don't think that this person drew them. I've never seen her draw a picture in my life. And she comes into library every lunchtime, like 3 periods that she somehow had in S1. Don't know how she had them, but she had them.
Uh huh.
And then she came in there for lessons and things like that, for like catch ups, and he'd never seen her draw. And I was like, well, that's quite strange because it's a library, it's a quiet place. That'd be a really good place to just pull out a
Yeah.
sketchbook and
No.
do your
Yeah.
sketch.
Definitely.
I'm like, I genuinely think they're mine. And he's like, do you have any proof? And I was like, I don't know. So I went to get one of my other friends. Like this was like the following Monday,
Yeah.
and I was speaking to him. I was like, "Do you remember that sketchbook?" He was like, "Yeah, I remember it." And I was like, "Do you have any pictures of it?" He was like, "No, I don't." I was like, "Do you have any pictures that I maybe sent you, maybe?" Because I don't. I looked all that weekend. Like I searched
Hmm.
so hard for some proof.
That's so
He was like, "No,
annoying.
I don't." And then he was like, "Maybe if I see them, like, I could help you." I
Vouch
was like,
for it.
"Yeah, yeah, yeah." And then I was like, "Do you remember that part where like the line went all wobbly because my hand was shaking a lot? Because it was like this really, really obvious mistake that I had made."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh my gosh, I remember that because you were so annoyed about it, but you're like, you're just gonna leave it and fix it later." And I was like, "Yes, that one."
Yeah.
So we went up to the library and he was like, "That is actually your drawing." I was like, "Okay, okay, okay." So I ran and got the library and I was like, "Please help me, it's my drawing."
Did they help?
So he was like, "I can take them down and give them to you." And I was like, "I kind of just want my sketchbook back. Like, because I've got other drawings in the sketchbook. Because
Yeah.
the kid's name was already on those pieces. So I was like, I'm not going to give my nephew them. I just want my sketchbook for the rest of them. I can just redraw those ones."
Yeah. No. Yeah.
So the child actually comes in, and that's when I realised it is an S1. I'm like, oh my god, this is so embarrassing. And she's like, it's my drawings, it's my drawings. And then she gets really, really upset, and I'm like, what am I supposed to do here?
I know, because you.
Like, I just want my sketchbook back. I'm trying to explain to her, look, this, even if you did take the sketchbook, I'm not going to be angry with you. I want it back. It was for a family member.
Yeah, I
She's like,
know.
no, it's mine, it's mine, it's mine. She keeps crying, and I'm like, I look at I remember just looking at the librarian, and shaking my head, and then I just got up and left. I didn't even get my sketchbook back. I just got up and left. I was fed up dealing with it.
That is so
I was like,
annoying.
this is just ridiculous. Like, why would you stoop to a level to just steal a sketchbook? What's it gonna do for
I
you?
know, especially just to then not even keep it for yourself, but then to like display it as your own.
I know, dish it out with your name on it.
No,
I
yeah.
don't understand why the child did that. I just really wanted it for my nephew.
Hmm.
And I still haven't redrawn those, so my nephew never even got the sketchbook that I wanted to give him because I didn't have time by the time his birthday came.
Yeah, and it was a big project as well. It's not like something like
Yeah.
small that you
I know,
could
I
do.
spent so long on that.
Like it's
My
time
nephew's
and
birthday is
effort.
the 4th of July. I'm sure I started that way before Christmas because I wanted it filled to the brim with stuff that he's gonna love to look
Yeah,
at.
and it'll be something you would have forever as well. Like it's something you can
Mm,
always look back on and always
yeah.
like
My
remember it.
nephew's kept every single drawing I've kept. He's got a wee
Oh,
drawer
that's
full
so
full of them
cool.
that I've gave him.
Yeah.
And my niece has done the same. She's got some displayed on her wall and she's got
Hmm.
some kept in a neat wee folder thing that she's got.
See, that's always something like perfect to have as well.
Yeah.
Because you'd know that
And
that
it's
would be the perfect
fun.
present because they love having your own like art. So a full
Yeah.
sketchbook filled with them would be perfect.
Yeah. I'm just so annoyed that I never got it back, but I
Especially,
was
I
gonna
know,
do
after all of that as well. Like, because you thought you would never see them again, and then you saw them on the wall, and then you thought there could be a slight
it.
chance of you finally getting it back.
Mm,
Because also you wouldn't want those drawings back because they've put their name on it, so like why would you want that back? That would not make sense, kind of thing.
yeah.
Mm.
I was just so upset about it.
Yeah.
What happens, I guess. It's my fault for leaving it with the art teacher. Like, I know I shouldn't have trusted her. I
That's
blame her
that's what you
entirely.
thought.
Like, she's like, no, I locked my classroom at lunchtime. Nobody could have got in and taken it. Well, clearly, this little child
I
did.
know, was there a classroom after that? Like how did there was that a first year class it was taught?
It went on to lunchtime after that.
Straight out. That's
That's why I
so
left it there. And she's like,
weird.
I'll photograph it after I've went and ate my lunch.
And you
She's like, I locked the classroom door anyway. And I remember I went along and I said to her, look, that's me done in your class. And she's like, right, okay, I'll go and lock that up.
yeah.
I
Was
don't
there
think she ever did,
no.
clearly, because somebody's got in and took it.
That's so crazy.
I know, I was worried about that. It really makes my blood boil.
Yes, it definitely should. Have you did anything like similar projects to that now, or
I just don't want to. Like, I've completely lost effort in like doing big sketchbook projects like that
no?
in
Yeah.
case I lose it because of
See,
that.
I can only
And
go.
now all my sketchbooks have my name, my phone number, and my email address on it now. I'm absolutely terrified of losing that, and now I've got this weird anxiety about my sketchbooks.
Yeah, or taking them out the house.
Mm. Pretty much, they all stay in my house. I've got one in my locker at
So
work, but
tomorrow,
I
do you want
have
to like come to my like house and bring your sketchbooks so we can have like a look through them
no,
all?
no. Oh, are
We
you being
can.
serious, sir? Yeah.
No,
I can tell you're being serious.
I couldn't tell if I was being serious. Probably don't do that. Just walking and taking them outside. It's just not. I mean, I don't know how many sketchbooks you have now.
I only have like 30. To be fair, most of my pictures are in folders now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I kind of organized them a
I
little
want to
bit
get
into
back
like.
into my sketchbook. See, like on my vlog, no, not my vlog channel, my art channel. Remember how I started doing those shorts of like the
Mm,
portraits? I want to do more of those portraits,
I think that'd be cool.
but I can't
You
use
could
them
do
for
them
my
with your
art.
pets.
Pets?
Pet portraits.
I don't know how good I'll be doing that. My friend does pet
But like, it's all
portraits.
about trial and error.
Yeah,
I think that'd be pretty cool. You could do Munchie, Blossom,
that would be really cool. We'll just have
the
to see how
fishies.
it goes because obviously once it's done, it's done.
Yeah.
It's just like it's scary to do. And if you talk about your hobbies that you've got currently, then that's another question that I wrote.
Okay. So I currently enjoy reading a
Uh-huh.
lot.
Yeah.
Um, I like to build my Lego,
Mhm.
and I like trying to complete some of my collections. So that's like my main sort of things.
Yeah.
I do still enjoy like sketching, but I really need to be in the mood for it.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's like it's pretty good.
Well, that's the same thing. Like, you have to be inspired by something to do it, because like
Mm.
you could just go for this period where you can't do anything, because once you're doing it, it feels like almost like you're forcing yourself to do it when you don't want to be doing that. You want to do it like
Yeah.
because you want to do it and you feel inspired to do something.
Yeah, the only time I'd really force myself to do it is if like I'm feeling like a really strong emotion. Like so
Yeah.
if I'm really upset about something or angry about something, I'd take it out on my paper pretty
Oh,
much.
really? That's really cool though.
Draw whatever comes to mind.
Yeah, there's some people that
I just
want to
think
do that, but then they just
yeah.
say, like I said, I remember like it's like, so what do you do? Like if you're really upset or angry, do you like do art? And then they're like, no, I just go under my bed and start crying. And I'm like, okay,
I
that's
like to
kind of,
try and make it productive, so like
no,
I
that's
distract
really
myself
good.
quite much from it. So as I'm like drawing it and drawing something, I get less and less angry or less and less upset. I'm more focused on what I'm doing, and then I try to
Okay, so
better it.
almost like art
And help me.
therapy, but you are your own therapist.
Yes, I don't need no therapist.
That one can get lost.
Yeah.
I mean, that other therapist that you had, completely no.
They were definitely a bit more.
No, yeah, that was a whole other thing.
I'm glad they're not my actual therapist. I'm still waiting on a call for one, but like,
Okay,
I'm so glad he's not mine.
yeah, no, yeah.
Because they
Um,
kept saying, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. I'm like,
but
you
you
are putting
are.
words.
That's
You
like
really
saying
are.
no offense, but it being offensive. And I'm like,
Yes.
well, that is offensive. You say no offense doesn't make it not offensive. You were just
Less offensive.
offensive to me in just saying it's no offense, meaning that your comment was offensive, but you are saying no offense. That doesn't make sense. That's like saying punching someone, be like, I didn't mean to punch you, so like, don't like take that as me punching you because I didn't. And you're like, but you did.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same thing, but just like using words instead of physical punches.
Yeah.
So pens as well. That's another hobby of yours, right?
Yeah, that's some of my collections.
When
I
did you
have
when did
quite
you
a
started that, like when you were doing your HNC, right?
Yeah,
Like
I
kind of
had some
after
pens.
like your high school? Or
I
did you have
actually had
stuff?
the pens during high school.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Do you know around what year?
yeah, it was S6 because
Oh, okay.
yeah, it was before my my higher maths exam
Oh, was it?
because I had came back from Florida.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. That would make sense.
And I had some pens just kind of sitting in a tin, and my sister was like, "Oh, you can display these on these," and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And then I kind of fell in love with the pens.
Yeah, and then that
I
became
ended
a
up
big
joining,
thing.
yeah, I joined a page on Facebook,
Yeah.
and I just buying
Was there not
pens.
like live streams as well where you can get like nice offers
Yeah,
of pens?
you can either bid on them or
Yeah,
you
that was it,
can
bidding.
claim them.
Yeah.
It's really exciting. I love them.
Do you
I
still do
love
that
collecting.
now?
I've not did it in a long time, but I
Mm,
have been really busy with work.
true. And other hobbies.
Yeah, and other hobbies. Takes up
It's
time.
the same thing for me. Like, I can do something for a month straight and then completely not do it for like a good like 6 months before going back to it. It's the same thing with games. I can play a game for like so long and then I get bored of it for like a year and then I come back to
Yeah,
it for like 2 months and then I go away from it again.
yeah,
That's also another hobby of yours, gaming. That is one that we do
yeah.
share.
I do like gaming.
We do share the gaming hobby.
Yeah,
Don't know what else to say about that, but yes,
yeah. It's the game.
we do the games. So what are you doing now? Not like right now, but
I'm just
like
chilling to you. That's what I'm doing.
for a good amount of time, I will say we're doing pretty well on this podcast. I hopefully you have been enjoying this. If you, by the way, if you've got questions that you ever want to ask us, definitely make sure to put them into the comments, as I would make sure to answer them in the upcoming podcasts. So make sure to put in your questions. But yeah, so what are you doing now? Like, what is like the main thing I guess about is just your like, what is your title for your job? Would you say like what is that?
So I'm a childcare worker.
Full time.
I currently work full time in a nursery.
Mhm.
I work with the 2 to 3s,
Okay. Is
so
that like
get about
2 to 3 year olds?
That's the thing.
That's the thing.
Yeah, so I get them when they turn 2,
Hmm.
and then when they turn 3, they go on to the 3 to 5s curriculum, when and if they're ready.
Hmm.
So
How many people
sometimes
would you have?
so do you mean like how many I can have on my own, or how many like
Like how
I
many?
have?
Like can you know how like you get assigned like the kids?
Yes, that would be my key kids.
Yeah. What's your? How many do you have?
Um,
Or is there like a maximum that
so
you're?
I currently have 4.
That's a lot.
But someone I the work with has 5,
Oh
but they've
really?
got 2 moving up then.
Oh okay. So they'll eventually go down to 3.
Yeah.
Would you still have more time with yours then? When do they start moving?
So I have to the will hopefully be moving up soon.
But you don't know. Is
I'm
it
not
really
100%
does it depend on like how they're progressing as well?
Yeah, so if I
Okay.
feel like a child's not ready to go onto the
Right.
3 to 5 curriculum, I'll keep them on the 2 to 3 curriculum.
Oh, okay.
Just because it's less stressful for the child, and then when they're
Definitely.
ready, they'll let us
Especially
know.
because yeah, if they weren't ready, then you're just gonna like plop them up to like
Yeah, it's
more
not
when
gonna
they've
be good
not even
for them.
fully developed what they're currently doing. That would be
Mhm.
too much because you want to make sure it's a gradual thing.
Yeah, definitely. You want to make it as easy on them as possible.
Yes. So yeah, my next question is, what is your media and go-to style of what you like to create? So now you can talk because I remember you did some commissions, so you can talk about them if you want.
Um, so I like to use water-based pens. They're usually by Scribblicious. To make colorful backgrounds for like any characters that I draw. Um, the characters usually they're like Disney characters or like Star Wars things like that or Pokemon. I'm very into them. And pretty much how I do that is like I have like usually a Polly Pocket or just like a plastic sheet really.
Hmm.
I draw on it with the pen and then I add water to the sheet and then I put the paper on top. And it just makes this like really colourful background that you can then put a character on, which I think is really cool. And it definitely makes the character stand out a lot more. So I
Yeah,
really like doing that. It's really like therapeutic to do as well. Like it's really fun and like satisfying. I
and
love
you would
doing it.
always get good results, would you say as well?
Yeah, even when it's like not the way you want it,
Uh,
it's still like really, really good.
so it's like
Like
almost like
it
you
looks
don't
really nice.
know what the outcome could be, but you know it would be like
Mhm.
exciting. Yeah, that's a really nice way because I know there's a bunch of stuff that I like doing as well, especially using like watercolored based stuff. You don't know what
Mhm.
the outcome would be because you can't like control water, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like they could just do what it wants to do. And that's kind of like the great part about it because it'll be unique to you. And there's not
Yeah,
like it's
like
not
if I
like I
can't
can't look at that and be like I'm gonna recreate that because the orange or the pink or like the colors won't be exact or you know
or they
like
could mix more.
yeah like they're very unique because if you did two the exact same way both of the backgrounds
Mhm.
of that watercolor based would be completely different, which is perfect because then like the artworks that you're giving out would be so unique every single time.
Yeah. I'm looking at 2 currently that I've done. I remember doing them one after another,
Oh, really?
and they look so different, like the backgrounds.
Yeah, and that's always a nice thing because then you would know which
Yeah.
one you prefer as well to yourself because also other people would prefer other ones as well. Like if you put up to it, it's not like everyone's going to be like that one's better than that one. It'll be like, oh, I feel more liking towards that one.
Yeah. Like everybody's opinion will be different.
Yeah, which is really
But I really
nice.
like how they turn out so differently. And sometimes they can turn out quite blotchy and like dead dark or dead light. And I really like that
Oh, you do? That's nice.
it can turn out like
Hmm.
that.
Yeah.
Um,
Which is really
Another
cool
thing that
actually. You should try bleach with your artwork. That makes a really cool effect. Almost it looks kind of like bubbly. So like
I
with your
think I would.
watercolor though, so like make sure you've got your watercolor down and even just like dabble in some like you can even get cheap ones like at Tesco's.
Yeah, I
Like
think I
just
would
any
like to try
bleach
that.
and it kind of looks really cool because I remember trying that once because I was doing my HND, and I wanted to make sure that I wasn't just doing watercolor, because that won't really get you like far in the actual, because like we had to make sure to keep developing our artworks, and if I was just stuck with watercolors, there's nothing much you can develop from just using watercolor. So I had to bring in other medias, and that's when I wanted to try using bleach, and I really enjoyed using that. So that could be something you can try using as well, to see if you
Yeah, I
like
think
it
I would like to try
for
that.
different backgrounds as well, because like
Mm.
it would add stuff. But yeah, what were you gonna say?
I think it'd be really interesting to see. Yeah, I was just gonna go on to talk about something else, I guess.
You can do that, yeah.
um, I like using Sharpies. That's probably one of my main
Yeah,
things that I
you did
use.
that
I
before
love a Sharpie.
the watercolors.
Yeah, I did. The
Mm,
watercolors came in later,
yeah.
but I love drawing with my Sharpies. I love how vibrant they can be, but I
Uh-huh.
hate the smell.
See,
The smell just becomes so strong, and then because I have to shut my room door
yeah.
because my dogs try to eat my pens,
Hmm.
it just kind of stays in my room and just gets stronger and stronger.
Okay, yeah. See, I don't feel like I'm that best with Sharpies. That's just because I've not used them that often. Like, you've definitely used them, I guess, a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sharpies.
Sharpies were one of the first things I started using, actually.
Yeah, because
Then when
you
the
have to be precise
watercolor.
with them as well. Because you don't want them to bleed through
Hmm.
the lines that you were doing as well.
Yeah.
Like,
It's like
that
when
would be
you're
annoying.
like trying to go towards the edge, you need to like move in a bit so that it will like spread out to that edge. And then if you have like what I did is I outlined it first before I like colored it in because I
Yeah.
was very into outlining when I was younger.
Oh, okay.
Usually the ink stops at the outline so
Yeah.
it doesn't
No,
usually
yeah.
bleed through
Hmm.
as long as you're kind of like trying to control the ink as best as you can,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool. But I also use Crawford and black watercolor pencils. I use their colored pencils and I use their sketch pencils. I really like those ones because I think they're really easy to blend.
It is
So that's
soft.
why I use them. They're really easy to blend
That's so
and
nice.
they look really nice when you layer them.
Right, yeah. No, that's
If it's
good.
not dark enough, you can just go on with another layer and it still looks really good.
Yeah.
And I have a little story to tell you about when
Oh
I
no.
first used the colored pencils.
Oh
And
no.
I'm really embarrassed that I did this. Like,
Yeah.
I'm so embarrassed. I can't believe that's what I did.
What did
But
you
so
do?
I got them for I think it was Christmas. It was Christmas because I was down in my sister's,
Yeah.
and I remember standing up at the kitchen counter. I was like, I'm gonna draw a picture. So I drew this dragon with my sketch pencil,
How old were
and I
you?
went to how old was I? I was quite young, maybe about probably about 11, maybe.
Okay, okay. So dragon.
So I was still kind of youngish. Yes, dragon was my thing at that point. I still have the dragon. I named him Arrow.
That's
Has a name and
adorable.
everything.
Yes.
And I remember sketching them out, and I
Mm-hmm.
drew all the arrows on them. I was like, they're gonna be red. So I took the red watercolored pencil. I dipped it into a glass of water,
Oh
and
no.
then started drawing with
Were you hoping it would bleed?
it. Yeah, I
Like,
did that for the entire picture.
wait, so you didn't think it was wrong?
No, I did that for the entire picture. And then I went on to do it for another picture.
I mean, it's unique. It's still a way to work. It's just not.
It's not the proper.
Because, like, technically, in the art world, if you did that and explained you did it that way, no one would be shocked unless you said that you thought that was the proper way, and you.
I did think this was the proper way.
Mhm. If you
I
tried
did.
it the
And I
correct.
remember looking at the box that they came in, and I was like,
Yeah.
this doesn't look anything like those colours on there.
Oh no.
So I went onto my iPad that I had at the time,
Mhm.
and I looked up how to use them,
Yeah.
and I was like, wait, what?
Oh.
Oh my god. And then my sister comes in and she's like, what are you looking at? It's like, did you know this is how you're supposed to use these? It's like, oh, she's just kind of goes, I don't know anything about art and walks away.
See,
I was so embarrassed.
I used
Oh my god.
watercolor pencils as like just normal pencils.
Yeah, I do
And
that sometimes too.
But it's just because
Sometimes
sometimes I
it's a
do,
lot.
yeah, sometimes I do it just because I didn't have pencils around and I was just going to use them. But
Mm,
watercolor pencils, I guess, aren't my favorite. I guess it's just because I love watercolor and I've used it so much now that I just feel like it's superior to any other media. Digital media I love a lot as well, though. Like, I really do love digital media because without I can spend hours on digital media, and with like every
mm,
outcome that it makes, I'm always really pleased with how it works. So
yeah, I've never done like much digital media.
I love it because you can layer on
I'd love
so many
to.
things and blend it through, and just it just looks so unique to whatever thing you wanted to try and create. And I've been trying to do
Yeah,
different methods to digital media as well, not just sticking with my route that I love using. So I want to make sure that I'm exploring different ways to work as well, and not just sticking with the same thing over and over.
yeah. Suppose you'd have a lot more options with doing digital media as well.
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely. Because especially because I do it through different steps, so like it wouldn't just go straight to digital media. It won't go straight. Look, let's restart, guys. Right, it
No.
won't go straight into digital media. It would be like I'll do a photo shoot or something, or I would actually do my watercolor paintings and then take them into digital media. So like it would be multiple different like layers into it. So it's like developing my work instead of just using just watercolor or just a photo shoot or just digital media. It'll be like taking them in, like even like doing a photo shoot and then doing a watercolor of that and then taking that into digital media. So it's like constantly being developed and you would never know the outcome from that first photo that you took of where it would end up, you know? It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. What did you, is that you? Is that, hello?
Yes, very
It's
much.
getting to that point of the day, you know, where like your words aren't just, yeah. I have wrote some other questions that are non-art related, just two. Um,
Okay.
the first one is your pets and like their names and I guess their breeds because I know they're crossbreed, aren't they? If you
Yeah.
just wanted to speak about
So
kind of
I
what your pets
have
are.
Daisy and Lola. They're crossbreed between a Yorkshire Terrier and a Shih Tzu. So they're pretty small. They've definitely took from the Yorkie height. They're not as big as the Shih Tzu, but
But it
Daisy is
makes them
like a
more
mini Shih Tzu.
adorable. Yeah.
She's got her dad's fur, whereas Lola's got the Yorkie fur. So they're like two complete opposites, but they're sisters.
Hmm.
Um, Lola was the smallest of the litter, and Daisy was the biggest of the litter. So we got the two opposite ends of the litter,
Best
but like they
ones.
were, yeah, they were always together. Like anytime we were there, they'd come over to us together. Just it was just meant to be that they were got a home together. And
Yeah.
then Lola was like the last one left. Like nobody wanted her, and it was so sad. And I don't know if it was because she was the runt of the litter, but
Yeah.
just nobody wanted her, and it was so sad to see. And the guy phoned my mum, and he's like, "Look, Lola's still left. Do you still want her?" And mum was pure debating about it because my dad had to stop going over because he loved Lola so much, and he was so upset that we were just getting Daisy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was so upset about it, and I was like,
Oh,
"Mum, we should."
that was perfect
And I
then.
went down to one of my friends' house,
Hmm.
Lauren's. I went down to his
Yeah.
house for a while. I came back up. My mum looked at me and she went, "We're getting two dogs." I was like, "Wait, what?" I was like, "I got Lola." I was like, "Oh my gosh, we're naming her Lola."
Oh, that is so perfect.
It was. I was so happy when she told me that.
No, yeah, definitely. And
So you just
enough.
watch it. Like I'm watching the two of them now. They're both just lying there cuddling each other, and I'm just like, I couldn't imagine not
Like
having
they're
both of them.
perfect for each other as well for siblings.
They are. Their personalities definitely match each other.
Uh-huh.
Like where one is very confident on their own, the other's quite
Yeah.
clingy.
No, yeah,
They're meant to be.
definitely. Another question is if you got any books that you recommend.
um,
What's the genre first of all that you like?
I
Like
like
you.
fantasy and I like romance books.
Mhm. So books that you recommend.
Um,
What's one that you really just
so
had to keep
right now I'm
reading?
reading Jade Fire Gold, and I'm absolutely loving it. It's really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's just like it like splits between two different people's perspective, and I really love that. It's the first book I've read like that,
Oh, okay.
so I think that it's that it's doing that. I like that it does that.
You've went away.
Sorry, I really like that. It really lets you see both sides of the story
Oh,
too, which
okay.
I think is really cool.
No, yeah, definitely.
Um, one that I read was Lord Eternal Night.
Mm-hmm. Did you
Please, if you do read this book, be over 18 because I didn't realise some of the stuff it included. It's quite.
graphic?
Yes, let's go with that.
Okay.
Graphic.
Yeah.
Um, there's another book that I read last year that was amazing called Red Arrows.
So I was gonna say Red Artist Pro.
No. So Red Arrows is like it's like a take on Little Red Riding Hood
Oh, okay. No,
and
wait, I think
the wolf.
you remember telling me about this
Yeah.
actually.
So instead of it being an actual wolf that kills the grandma, it was a werewolf.
Yes, no, you
And
did.
Red's out like I'm gonna murder this wolf, haha.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Also, that's backstory. She didn't just give you away the entire book.
yeah, that's the backstory. So that's just basically that's what it's about. She wants
Yeah,
to get this wolf and take it down, pretty much.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, I don't want to spoil too much. So I'm trying not to say massive amounts of them, but those would probably be my top three, like right now.
That's good. That's good. Well, I think you've did well. I think you have.
Thank you,
I'm quite proud of you. I am.
thank you.
But yeah, I think that should be the end of this podcast. I don't know what else to say. If there is there any questions that you wished I asked you but didn't?
Not really. I think you've kind of
Covered it.
asked them all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And definitely, if you have enjoyed this podcast and if not yet left a like, definitely do so. And if you've not yet, if you did enjoy this podcast and wanted to see more of Amy, then let us know because definitely wouldn't mind doing a part two as well because we have thousands of things to talk about and we can literally talk for like years on end with more laughing because there's a lot of things. This was just like the intro into Amy's life. There's lots more that we can do. We can even talk about stuff that's more specific as well, like in podcasts where we can dive into an actual category and take it by that as
Yeah.
well. Like that could be fun. So
Yeah.
if that's stuff that you want to see, and definitely if you've got any categories that you want us to cover or talk about, let us know in the comments as well. You know, lots of stuff that you should be commenting right now. I should see thousands of comments. But yeah, thank you everybody for watching, and we'll see you in the next podcast, hopefully. But yeah, bye everybody. Bye.